READ unit. The READ unit includes the following sections: word awareness, syllable awareness, which is addressed first with compound words and then with multisyllabic words, and phoneme awareness. These sections are delineated in red throughout the program. In the READ unit, students are first introduced to the concept of words. This is the word awareness section. Once they understand what a word is, students can learn how to divide a word into syllables or parts. This is known as syllable awareness. In this section, syllable awareness is addressed on two levels. First, syllables are addressed in compound words. Only two-syllable compound words are used, where each syllable is one distinct and recognizable word. Examples of compound words are hatbox, snowman, and pancake. It is easiest to teach about syllables at this level because each syllable in a compound word is a real word. Next, syllables are addressed in multisyllabic words. 2- and 3-syllable words that are not compound words are used. Examples of 2-syllable words are window, morning, and weather. Examples of 3-syllable words are factory, uniform, and history. Finally, students will learn to divide words into phonemes. A phoneme is the very smallest unit of sound. Once students learn how to identify syllables, they will learn to blend, segment, count, and manipulate syllables in a word. After these skills are mastered, they will move forward to blend, segment, count, and manipulate phonemes in a word. To blend syllables means to combine parts to form a word. To segment syllables means to divide a word into parts. To manipulate syllables means to make changes to a word. Follow along with us as we illustrate how the READ unit, Unit 2, addresses word awareness, syllable awareness, and phoneme awareness. Let's begin with the first section in the READ unit, word awareness. Word awareness, introduction. In this section, word awareness, students will be introduced to the concept of words and will learn that words form sentences. Students will also learn to identify each word in a sentence and then learn to count the words in a sentence. A word is a part of speech or writing that has meaning. A sentence is a group of words that together form an idea. Introduction to the concept of a word. Students will learn about the concept of a word. Students will learn that a word is something that has meaning. They will learn to identify what is a word and what isn't. Here are examples of letters and sounds that make up words: teacher, marker, the, and amazing. Here are examples of letters and sounds that do not make up words: ja, li. Words make up sentences. Students will learn that words form sentences. For example, I'm on a swing. Identifying words in a sentence. Students will identify each word in a sentence. For example, I am on a swing are the words in this sentence. Counting words in a sentence. Students will count the number of words in a sentence. I am on a swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 words in this sentence. Manipulatives and activities. Teacher display cards. The teacher will introduce most of the goals in this section with picture cards that represent sentences. Here are examples of sentences that can be illustrated with picture cards. The boy is jumping. Birds are flying. Mom cooked. Magnetic blocks. The teacher will use magnetic word blocks to show students about words, to illustrate that words form sentences, and to help students identify words in a sentence. In this section, syllable word blocks are used. Each word block represents one word. A group of word blocks placed one after the other in a row represents a sentence. Different sized blocks are used to show words of different lengths. For example, the boy is jumping. This sentence is illustrated with different sized magnetic blocks. Jumping got a longer block because it is a longer word. Word boxes and counters. The teacher will further develop the goals of identifying and counting words in a sentence by using word boxes and counters. A row of boxes that are not attached shows a sentence. A counter will be placed into each word box to represent each word in the sentence. For example, the boy is jumping. Let's count how many words are in that sentence. The 1, boy 2, is 3, jumping 4. There are 4 words in that sentence. Worksheets and activities. Targeted worksheets and activities are provided throughout the section so that students can apply and practice each of the goals in the word awareness section. This completes the word awareness section. Let's move forward to the next section in the red unit, the compound words section. Compound words. Introduction. In this section, compound words, students will be introduced to the concept that words are made up of syllables. This section only addresses 2-syllable compound words where each syllable is a real word. The concept of a syllable is easiest for students to grasp when each syllable is a real word. Students are not actually taught the term syllable until the next section, multisyllabic words. Here in this section, syllables are simply referred to as parts. Students will blend, segment, count, and delete syllables of a compound word. Once they have reached these goals with compound words, they can move forward to accomplish these goals in non-compound words and words with more syllables. These types of words will be addressed in the next section, multisyllabic words. Definition of terms for the compound word section. Syllable. A word or part of a word that is said in one voicing or one opening and closing of the mouth while speaking. Compound word. A word that is made up of 2 smaller words. In this program, 2-syllable compound words are used where each syllable is a real word. Blend. To combine parts to form a word. Segment. To divide a word into parts. Manipulation. A task that requires students to make changes to a word. Manipulation includes 2 tasks, deletion and substitution. In this section, deletion is addressed. Deletion, to remove a syllable or phoneme from a word. Introduction to compound words. Students will learn about the concept of a compound word. They will learn that many words are made up of smaller parts. Sometimes these small parts are real words, and sometimes they are not. If a word is made up of 2 parts, and each of these parts is a real word, then the word is a compound word. For example, the word toothbrush is made up of the words tooth and brush. Both tooth and brush are real words, so toothbrush is a compound word. Blending syllables. Students will combine 2 syllables to form a 2-syllable compound word. For example, tooth and brush becomes toothbrush. Segmenting words into syllables. Students will divide a 2-syllable compound word into 2 syllables. For example, toothbrush, a bigger word, is made up of 2 parts or smaller words. Tooth and brush. Counting syllables. The word toothbrush is made up of tooth and brush. Tooth is one part and brush is another part, so you have two parts in this compound word. Deleting syllables. Students will delete a syllable from a two-syllable compound word and identify what is left. Students will delete the first syllable of a compound word and identify what is left. For example, tooth, brush makes the word toothbrush. If we take away tooth, what is left? Brush. Students will delete the second syllable of a compound word and identify what is left. For example, tooth, brush makes the word toothbrush. If we take away brush, what is left? Tooth. Manipulatives and activities. Teacher display cards. The teacher will explain the concept of a compound word and introduce each goal with picture cards. For example, the teacher will say, snow and man make the word snowman. The teacher will display the snowman picture card. Magnetic blocks. The teacher will further develop the goals of the compound word section using magnetic blocks. In this section, syllable blocks, which are purple, and two-syllable word blocks, which are orange, will be used. Each syllable block will represent one syllable of a word. The two-syllable word blocks, which are the size of two syllable blocks, will represent the complete compound word. For example, here's how the magnetic blocks are used for blending two syllables to make a compound word. Snowman makes snowman. Raincoat makes raincoat. Pancake makes pancake. Now here's how the magnetic blocks work for segmenting. Let's say a word and find the two parts. Snowman, snow and man. Raincoat, rain and coat. Pancake, pan and cake. Elkonin boxes and counters. As students advance to the goals of segmenting and counting syllables in compound words, Elkonin boxes and counters will be used. Elkonin boxes are squares that represent syllables or sounds in a word. Elkonin boxes will aid students in segmenting spoken words into syllables or sounds. In this section, a counter will be placed into each Elkonin box to represent a syllable. For example, snowman, snowman. Raincoat, raincoat. We can also count the parts of a word with the counters. Snowman, 1, 2. There are two parts in the word snowman. Raincoat, 1, 2. There are two parts in the word raincoat. Interlocking cubes. Students will practice deleting syllables with small cubes that attach to each other. Each cube will represent one syllable. Snowman makes the word snowman. If we take away snow, the first cube, what is left? Man. Snowman makes snowman. If we take away man, the second cube, what is left? Snow. Worksheets and activities. Targeted worksheets are provided throughout the section so that students can apply and practice each of the goals in the compound words section. There are different targeted activities provided for the students so they can apply and practice the goals addressed in each compound words section. Each of these activities is different and specific to a certain lesson. Details regarding these activities are found in the lessons themselves. Oral practice. The final step for each goal is oral practice, where students will perform each task without the help of manipulatives or visual cues. Word lists are provided at the end of each goal. The teacher will use these lists to prompt students to apply the targeted goal. This completes the compound words section. Let's move forward to the next section in the red unit, the multisyllabic word section. Multisyllabic words. Introduction. In the multisyllabic words section, students will learn about words that consist of 2, 3, or 4 syllables that are not compound words. 4-syllable words are provided for the purpose of exposure, and complete mastery is not expected at this level. Therefore, 4-syllable words are dealt with only in Part A, the teacher modeling part of the lessons, and not in Part B, the student application part, and are also not found on the oral lists. 1-syllable words are also addressed for specific goals. Students will first learn about the concept of a syllable. Though students have been trained to deal with word parts in the previous section that addressed compound words, they have not actually been taught the term syllable as of yet. Then, students will blend, segment, count, and delete the syllables of a multisyllabic word that is not a compound word. Once students have reached these goals in multisyllabic words, they will be able to move forward and achieve these goals in the phoneme section. Proficiency in the phoneme section is the goal that all the other sections have been pointing toward. The phoneme section deals with phonemes, the smallest units of sound in a word. However, to avoid potential confusion between syllables and phonemes, the phoneme section is taught later as the very last section, after the orange unit. Goals included in this section. Introduction to syllables. Students will learn about the concept of a syllable and the concept of a multisyllabic word. They will learn that the word syllable is the term for part of a word. Students will now learn to deal with syllables where the parts are not real words. Blending syllables. Students will combine 2, 3, or 4 syllables to form a multisyllabic word. For example, table becomes table. Banana becomes banana. Helicopter becomes helicopter. Segmenting words into syllables. Students will divide a 2, 3, and 4-syllable word into distinct syllables. For example, table is made up of bull. Banana is made up of ba-na-na. Helicopter is made up of he-li-cop-ter. Identifying the syllable in a 1-syllable word. Students will identify the syllable in a 1-syllable word. Here is an example of a word made up of 1 syllable. Bike. That word has only 1 syllable. Counting syllables. Students will count the syllables in a 1, 2, 3, and 4-syllable word. For example, table. Table. 1, 2. This word has 2 syllables. Banana. Ba-na-na. 1, 2, 3. This word has 3 syllables. Helicopter. Helicopter. 1, 2, 3, 4. This word has 4 syllables. Deleting syllables. Students will delete a syllable from a 2- and 3-syllable word and identify what is left. First, 2-syllable words. Students will delete the first or second syllable of a 2-syllable word. For example, let's look at the word table. If we take away the te, what is left? Bull. Now, let's look at the word table again. Table. If we take away bull, what is left? Te. Next, 3-syllable words. Students will delete the first syllable of a 3-syllable word. For example, let's look at the word banana. If we take away the ba, what is left? Nana. Note, when students will delete the first syllable of a 3-syllable word, only words with an accent on the second syllable are used. This is the easiest way to apply the skill. Mastery of the goal at a higher level is not expected at this point. About syllables. When modeling and teaching syllables, teachers should consistently take care to ensure that each syllable and word is pronounced clearly. Throughout the section, words are frequently written with syllable divisions that are clear to see. The syllabic segments are separated by small dashes. When a word is presented in this manner, it should be said by the teacher slowly and deliberately, with a pause between each syllable. In keeping with this approach, the name of each teacher display card is written with syllable divisions. Dashes appear between each syllable, thereby indicating where to divide each word when necessary. Conversely, when a word is presented as a complete word, appearing without any syllabic division, the teacher should be careful to clearly articulate the distinct sounds in the word. This is recommended even though the word is being said without pauses between syllables. It is important that the words are said in this manner so that students will be able to clearly differentiate between the syllables in the word and easily apply the skills of segmenting, counting, and deleting. Please note that phonetic syllabic division is being used here rather than written syllabic division. Written syllabic division is used to identify where to break a word at the end of the line in written text. While dictionary entries tend to accompany phonetic syllabic division with phonetic spellings, we have taken the liberty of using proper English spelling to avoid confusion and assist teachers in presenting these lessons with ease and clarity. Please note, we are using the Merriam-Webster Dictionary 11th edition as a reference guide for all syllabic division in ReadBright's Phonological Awareness program. Manipulatives and activities for the section dealing with multisyllabic words. Teacher display cards. The teacher will introduce each goal with picture cards. For example, the teacher will say, can-d, and show the picture card of a candy. The teacher will say elephant and show the picture card of an elephant. The teacher will say thermometer and display the picture card of a thermometer. Duck puppet. A duck puppet will be used to demonstrate the concept of a syllable and when teaching students to blend and segment. The duck puppet is a valuable teaching aid because its mouth opens and closes with distinct and clear definition. This visually demonstrates the syllables in a word. The teacher must also exaggerate the opening and closing of their own mouth as they speak. Both the teacher's mouth and the duck's mouth should be completely closed before a syllable is articulated. For example, what is the duck trying to say? Can-d. Oh, if we put those syllables together, we get candy. That's what duck must be trying to say. Or, what is duck trying to say? Elephant. Oh, elephant. That's what duck must be trying to say. That was blending. Now for segmenting. The teacher can remind students that duck does not say words smoothly. Duck speaks in separate syllables. The teacher can ask, how would duck say this word? Candy. Duck would say candy. Or how would duck say this word? Elephant. Duck would say elephant. Hand and chin. The teacher will also model the concept of a syllable by placing their hand, palm side down, beneath their chin. Students will observe how the chin moves up and down in the accordance with the syllables in a word. Students will then place their own hands beneath their chins and feel for themselves the movement of their chins as they speak. This will also help them segment a word. The teacher should make sure each student has their hand placed correctly under their chin as they say the following words. Students should be reminded to note how their chin moves up and down with each syllable. Candy, can-d. Elephant, el-le-phant. Thermometer. Ther-mom-e-ter. Umbrella. Um-brel-la. Magnetic blocks. The teacher will explain the concept of a syllable and further develop all of the goals of the multisyllabic word section using magnetic blocks. In this section, syllable blocks, which are purple, and syllable word blocks, which are orange, will be used. Each syllable block will represent one syllable of a word. Syllable word blocks can represent a single syllable word or a multisyllabic word. A one-syllable word block is the size of one syllable block. A two-syllable word block is the size of two syllable blocks. A three-syllable word block is the size of three syllable blocks. And a four-syllable word block is the size of four syllable blocks. Candy. Can-dy. Elephant. El-e-phant. Ther-mom-e-ter. Thermometer. Cut up picture cards. These are picture cards that are cut up into the same number of syllables as a word. These will be used to help students clearly understand concepts when they learn to blend, segment, and delete syllables. For example, cat, pill, Caterpillar. Here, we blended to form a word. Umbrella. Um-brel-la. Here we segmented and found the parts of a word. Now we will delete a part of a word. Dolphin. Dolphin. If we take away doll, what is left? Fin. Interlocking cubes. Students will receive small cubes that attach to each other. Each cube represents one syllable. Cubes are another tangible manipulative that will further help students clearly understand concepts when they learn to blend, segment, and delete syllables. For example, umbrella makes umbrella. Umbrella is made up of umbrella. If we take away what is left? Brella. Elkonin boxes and counters. As students advance to the goals of segmenting and counting syllables, Elkonin boxes and counters will be used. Elkonin boxes are squares that represent syllables or sounds in a word. Elkonin boxes and counters are the same learning aids that we used in the previous sections for practicing compound words. The Elkonin boxes will aid students in segmenting spoken words into syllables or sounds. In this section, a counter will be placed into each Elkonin box to represent a syllable. Worksheets and activities. Targeted worksheets are provided throughout the section so that students can apply and practice each of the goals in the multisyllabic word section. There are different targeted activities provided for students so they can apply and practice the goals addressed in the multisyllabic word section. Each of these activities is different and specific to a certain lesson. Details regarding these activities are found in the lessons themselves. Oral practice. The final step for each goal is oral practice, where students will perform each task without the help of manipulatives or visual cues. Word lists are provided at the end of each goal. The teacher will use these lists to prompt students to apply the targeted goal. Here is a review of terms that are used in the multisyllabic word section. Syllable. A word or part of a word that is said in one voicing or one opening and closing of the mouth while speaking. Multisyllabic word. A word with two or more syllables. In this section, words with 2, 3, and 4 syllables are addressed. Blend. To combine parts to form a word. Segment. To divide a word into parts. Manipulation. A task that requires students to make changes to a word. Manipulation includes 2 tasks, deletion and substitution. In this section, deletion is addressed. Deletion. To remove a syllable or phoneme from a word. We have now completed the multisyllabic words section. As we said earlier, we will now go on to the orange unit before proceeding to the last section in the red unit, which is phonemes.